Well, hello. Welcome to Drawing with Fire Live. I'm Valarie, your neighborhood pyrography artist, and we are picking back up on Eddie the cat on Fluid 100 hot press 140-pound watercolor paper. And hopefully, with this time, we have our friends across the pond who can join us in chat and ask their questions. And we do have a couple people in. Hi, Eve. Hi, Paul. Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning or evening, depending on where you're at. Let me know if everything sounds good and looks good, and we'll go ahead and get started. I am going to be looking at working on the darker areas of the stripes, the fur, and maybe, hopefully, we'll also look at doing some of the negative burning to pop out the white down at the bottom. And I'm starting with the Nibsburner hair tip. I am currently working with Coalwood to see if we can get this tip made the way I like it so that I can have it available to you guys. And I'm testing my tip on the same strip of watercolor paper we were using on Sunday. Just waiting for it to heat up.
Okay, all right. Of course, Paul and Eve are in and say hi, and Roseanne says, hello, everyone.
Hello, Roseanne.
She says, oh, Paul says, loud and clear.
Oh, good. I always worry about that. I keep having to bump up my heat, surprisingly. This machine's really acting weird. All right, I'm going to untape from my board so I can move around. Hopefully I stay in frame. And I'm set on a 2, but I've mentioned the issues with Nibsburner and having to get my pins rewired. So this heat or the setting is going to change in the future. You know what? It'd be better if I turn this way since that's the way the fur is going. I really do like this tip for fur. So hopefully we can get it made and available.
Just FYI, you're in about a 14-second delay.
About 14 seconds. Okay.
Hey, Paul. You said hi. I'm assuming you said hi.
Yes, Paul. Hubby is, I forgot to say.
What does hubby even mean? Is it hubcap? Is that short for hubcap?
Yes, you are. You're my bling.
Am I the shiny decorative part of the tire that's not very useful?
Aw, it's useful.
I keep the lug nuts from getting dust.
You're more useful than that. You read our comments.
I want an upgrade from hubby.
What do you want then? Well, when you figure it, okay. Well, when you figure it out, let me know. You are. And even if you weren't, you're my hubcap. Let's see here. He's got some eyeliner that goes out. Let's see. Guess the notifications aren't turned off.
Is that on your phone?
No, my phone is silent.
Where'd that come from?
I have no clue. Tablet. All right. I am liking this watercolor paper.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
Paul is our moderator over across the pond in the UK. Wonderful sense of humor. And Eve, also our wonderful moderator in Canada. We're all over the place. Who would have thought that?
Eve has a question.
Yes, please.
Do you have favorite artists, pyographers, your idols? Air quotes. I'm using air quotes here.
Actually, I don't. There are a lot of wonderful pyographers out there. Ooh, you okay?
Yeah, coffee.
Wrong pipe. No, I don't. There's a lot of good pyographers out there. But this tends to be, I think, and I'm trying to help open it up more, but tends to be a group of people who work alone. There's no plein air. There's not really a society for it.
Well, when we went to the Arizona Woodcarver show this last year, one of the judges had made a comment that, or organizers, or whoever they were, had made a comment that that mostly the wood crafting business was comprised of stodgy old men who were dying out, and so the business was dying. And I know I see more. There's more lady pyographers now that are actually, elevating the art. But I think in the past that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, some of the I don't even know how to pronounce her name correctly. I don't think there's Minosa, and that's the only name I have for her. He's on YouTube and Facebook and whatnot. Let's see here. Who else? There's Gene. I don't know how he's in Korea, I believe.
Well, when you got started,
I knew nothing. Zero.
You didn't see anything?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
You're just like, hey, let me see if I can do this.
Yes.
This thing.
That's exactly what I did. I saw nobody else's work. YouTube wasn't around yet, or it was just getting started. I'm not sure on the time there.
You just aged yourself.
Hey, I'm proud to be 4.3. Nothing wrong with that. I earned it. So those grays are coming in quicker. But there wasn't really a presence of any kind. And honestly, back then, I also didn't think to go look on YouTube and learn something. That's only been in the last couple of years.
Dorothy Smith says, good morning.
Good morning, Dorothy.
And Eve has another question.
Please.
Is patience a mandatory quality to really enjoy burning stuff?
I will say the art has taught me patience because I didn't have it beforehand. Not like this. Sometimes I get a little frustrated because I want to go faster. But I know if I go faster, it won't turn out the way I want it to. Sometimes I think too much.
What?
Oh, I know.
That's ridiculous. You think too much?
It does lend itself to my personality. Yes.
As far as mandatory quality, I really enjoy burning stuff. As an artist, I enjoy working on things and seeing like tangible results and like really being able to move along. And that's like one of the reasons why that photography doesn't appeal to me is because you can work for hours and you have worked for hours. You've worked for hundreds of hours, you know, and you'll call me in and you'll be like, what is this? How does this look? And it looks sort of like it did last time. But you know, you're close to it and you can see the nuance, but I can't necessarily see the change. So that's not something for me, unless of course you start using the blowtorch.
Okay, we're gonna look at the propane tank soon.
Let's see. Yeah, Paul says, as far as like the old guys, he says, I think you're right. I found a few, shall we say, strange men looking around the net, but the number of ladies seems to be increasing slowly, which is great. So I think that that's good because I think it's true because I think that in the past, like wood burning was more of a utility thing, and I think that the aesthetic wasn't as pursued, and I think that's where the women are coming in because maybe they have a finer aesthetic in general.
Well, I know a lot of wood burning is used for carvings when they detail out their carvings. So they're working more on a 3D plane. And you've got the gourd artists too, who are having to burn in order to lay down their inks and whatnot. And unfortunately, Nibsburner is focusing more on them versus all of us. Let's see here. Looking at my picture.
No, Eve, I'm not a pyrographer. I'm an acrylic artist. Well, I do oils too. It's predominantly acrylics.
I tried to get him to burn, but
No, I think that it's good that we have our separate, you know. Can you imagine if we had all these wood burners and we're both burning? Somebody get hurt. It would be me.
it'd be you.
It would be me.
Knock on wood. I have yet to hurt myself.
Good. We have done a collaboration before
We have.
where you burned the image and then I went over it with acrylic.
And hopefully we'll do that more.
Yeah.
I'm not shading this in completely dark because there are lighter hairs and wider hairs that are sparse throughout his forehead. And I don't want to lose those. Fixing a mistake on watercolor paper is definitely much harder, if not impossible. And like with wood, you've got a little bit of give. But I do want some of this hair darker. And I'm liking this tip much better than the one I was using on Sunday. So hopefully Coalwood can help me with that.
Dorothy Smith asks, what is the best method for sealing your finished burn?
For me, I use polyurethane. And if the piece has no color on it, then I just brush on pretty much 3 layers, sanding between the first 2 to knock down any bubbles or dust that has gotten into it, and frame it, and I'm done. On the watercolor, on this piece, like the paper, unless I'm using questionable colors, meaning some of them might not have the best light fast rating, I won't be sealing it at all. It'll be matted and framed behind glass. Let's see here. These are not white, but they are light.
What is it that you like about this particular tip compared to last time?
It's not cutting into the paper because it's not sharp. It glides smoother.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, make sure I stay on. I've been using it for so long, and it just feels right to me. we can get picky. Pyographers can get picky on the tips they use. You get used to certain tips, and if you get the results you want, those are the ones you stick with. Kind of like a brush or a pen. This one's easier to turn. In fact, here, I'll take this sideways. Oop, maybe. This is the first incarnation of the tip that Colwood's made for me, and I'm not happy with it. And this is the tip I'm using, and the shape does make a difference because of how I hold my hand. I'm bracing on the board, and with this tip, you have to work perpendicular to the board. This one, I can almost go parallel, and I did test between the two tips. Hopefully this will come in well. Let's see.
You know, I'm watching the feed, and like, I don't know wood burners. Those tips look pretty much identical to me. What am I missing?
I'll show you in a minute. This side is Nibsburner. May just practice this tip that I'm using here to get the fur pattern. And this side is the Colwood. I don't know how well you can see it. I guess if I put it up. There we go. And if you can look, the hair just doesn't come out as smooth and as clean as the Nibsburner tip does.
The shape of the tips is the same. Is it something?
No, the tip's different.
The shape's the same to me.
Here, maybe that'll help. Yeah, somehow. One is straight across. Maybe if I hold it like this.
Oh, okay.
There's an angle.
Okay, I see it now.
And that angle is important for me.
Okay.
And the tip that the Nibsburner tip that I'm using right now, when I'm burning on hair on wood, it 95% of the time I can go across the grain or along the grain and it does not get caught in it. Whereas when I was testing the Colwood tip, the first incarnation of it, it was getting caught.
So the angle, it makes all the difference.
For me, it does.
You know, it reminds me of the shape of like a chisel tip marker or something. Or, you know.
I bet.
Yeah, which it makes sense because if you just have a square tip, then, you know, you're not going to be able to get as much control over that. So that little angle makes a huge difference. It seems to me.
And so does resting my hand instead of holding it up.
So you're using a Colwood pen right now?
No, this is the Nibsburner.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So when we see the cork.
When you see the cork.
That's Nibsburner, right?
Well, Colwood has cork on it too.
Oh.
So that doesn't help.
Okay.
It's just, let's see here. These are short hairs. I'm barely swiping. It's barely making contact with the paper. Just enough to get me a light burn so I don't have to adjust my heat.
Yeah, Paul, exactly. It's Paul says it's kind of like the difference between a fast brush and a flat, bright. So yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was funny when I first started art, you know, a long time ago when I was a kid, but you know, brush was a brush was a brush, and I didn't care.
You just aged yourself. Haha.
Everybody was a kid once.
A long time ago.
Anyhow. But, you know, as you get more into something, you know, you realize that there's a real utility in having different kinds of brushes and shapes because they do make a difference.
They're just little nuances that I think each artist picks up on and gravitates to.
You just happen to pick up with the ones that have, you know, massive amount of electricity flowing through them and
1,000 degrees.
burning the tremendous heat. Actually, there's not really that much voltage going through them, is there?
3 volts on the one I'm using.
Oh, that's not bad. You still wouldn't want to get shocked by it, but.
And the razor tip is 2. Trying to blend these together. one's lighter than the other, so I have to. But with this tip, I can really just barely touch the paper and get different heats or different colors, range, tones. That's the word I'm going for. And for me, this is just the most comfortable pen. Though, if we can get the tip right for Coalwood, I think that'll be my go-to. I've used this pen for 7 years. And it's definitely getting worn down.
As a pyrographer, when you're checking your pens, like you say worn down, so what would be too worn down to use? Like, what are you looking for?
Well, I had kind of lost the shape on it because, again, back when I didn't check the internet for things, I was told to use sandpaper to clean my tip. And in doing that, it wears the tip down. I can still use this one, but I want it rewired so I have better control. Let's see here. Where to go? This kind of goes. I think I'm going to. Oh, that's still on. So I gotta be careful. Stay. I'm gonna do some erasing.
On watercolor paper, so what is that accomplishing? I'm not being sarcastic.
Well, because I don't want to burn the pencil in. If you're.
So you're erasing the pencil line?
Yeah, I'm just erasing the pencil lines.
See.
That way I can tell where I've been and how dark it really is.
Eve asks, is regarding the tip repair. Is it something someone can do at home, rewiring tips, or does it require special equipment that only manufacturers can get?
I have never done it, so I honestly don't know. I would prefer that whoever I got the tip from, they fix it. That way I don't void any warranty or cause any problems.
They have kits though, where you can make your own tips.
Where you, yeah, you can make your own tips.
Who offers those?
Actually all the brands except for even for Nibsburner through Mountain Wood Carver, you can buy the wire to make your own tip.
But you'd also have to have like some skill and knowledge with soldering and stuff too, right?
It depends on your pen. If you've got it interchangeable, then no, there's no soldering involved.
Good to know.
I did make a tip. It's over there behind you. I was trying to work out on the drafting table.
Oh, is this an angled one?
Yep.
So it looks very similar to what you're using now.
There's a nuance to this tip that I'm not quite sure what it is.
Do you want to show it, or?
Yeah, I'm not using it.
It looks very similar to the one you're using now, but maybe a little more rounded. And it is angled.
Yeah, but it's not only the angle of the tip, it's also how the tip is shaped. Yeah. On this one, I'm trying to remember how Alice, the previous owner of Nibsburner, described it to me. It's like flat on one side and kind of angled down. I'm not sure if this is a V or if the V is just because of how I've cleaned it over the years. A V tip so that it's sharper along the edge and gets a little wider.
So much like how when you're sketching with a pencil, it wears down the lead in certain patterns.
If you don't clean your tips right, it does the same thing.
Okay.
Let's see here. So all that is white. And I didn't draw the whiskers in. I'll put those in later.
How are you going to do that?
I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
If you had to leave the white on that, that would be like really, there'd be a lot of pre-planning with it.
Yes, I did it with the raccoon. I had to burn around the whiskers.
You burned around them.
I burned around them.
It's crazy talk.
Yeah, let me share them on screen. It's funny. I'm used to talking. Well, I guess kind of to myself. I was thinking about it, Arizona, when I kept saying I wanted to burn this animal or that animal. You had to keep
Yeah,
modifying my
she's walking through Arizona saying, "Oh, this would be a nice animal to burn," out loud.
to people. I got some funny looks. But it starts the conversation.
The lady holding George the Owl looked at you funny.
I know, he did.
Well, I've already burned one owl, but this would be a good one. She just looks at you. Like, she's an artist, a pyrographer. She wood burns. It's a turn of phrase. She's not psychotic, I promise.
She's not that kind of pyro.
She loves animals.
So much that I want to burn them.
There you go again.
Well, because
You should start saying, I can really make some art.
maybe I should. Luckily, we didn't get kicked out of there, huh?
Paul says, leaving the whiskers as a negative space thing is similar to colored pencil work then.
Yes. And I could use white colored pencil or the white gel pen to add it. This is just a study, so I may just do that. Not worrying about how mixed media it is.
Well, you're planning on using mixed media on this anyway, aren't you?
Well, it would be. I'm trying to get the feeling of like a pen and ink or a line, what they call line wash, where the ink is used to dry everything out and then you wash over it with watercolor.
Yeah.
That's kinda, I think, what I want to go for. I'm still trying to figure that out. What I do know is I want the burning to be realistic, and for the color media, whatever type I add, to be more abstract, more loose.
Oh,
I just haven't figured out how I want to do that. It's a little bit harder because I haven't done it, so it's kind of harder to picture what I want. For me, when I'm planning out a piece, I picture how it's going to look when I'm done, hopefully. And I'm having a little bit harder time with this. So I'm trying to just let go. I'm hoping this will help loosen me up. Because for me, this part is very detail oriented and harder for me to let go. Actually, any media is kind of harder for me to let go. Eve does wonderful watercolors, and he can go loose or whatnot. And I just haven't figured that out yet. Working on it though. Trying to get the shape right. He's also got forehead whiskers too that I wasn't paying attention to. Gotta remember that. Those are up. Second one here.
Plus all the fur coming out of his ears.
I've kind of drawn those in. The lines on my pattern where the fur is drawn in. Those, I drew them in to tell me those are the white hairs to not burn on that part.
So you have like a personal system as far as like kind of like codifying like where you are and aren't supposed to burn when you're laying out a pattern.
Sometimes. Because of how his hair is in the photo, I needed something to tell me don't burn here. But anybody else would be looking at it and they would burn those lines thinking that's what they were supposed to be doing. That's why the photo reference helps. It also gives me the reminder of where to go or what not to put in or to put in. I do like burning on this watercolor paper. I haven't burned on enough different watercolor paper yet to. I did burn on. It was either Moulin de Roy or Montville, and I wasn't too happy with that paper.
What?
I couldn't get I had to keep bumping up the heat to get my darks, and it didn't burn as smooth as I would have liked. The bears on that paper.
The one over here on the window?
No, the one in the bedroom, framed. But I am liking this paper so far. I'm trying to find the best watercolor paper for adding the color, but also that burns well.
He says Moulin de Roy.
Canson. I couldn't. It's in my cabinet. I think that's the name of it.
All I asked was paper rougher.
It was hot press also. I'll have to check those, and I'm going to do a review on the paper I'm burning on right now.
He says it's by Canson.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about hot press and cold press, for those that don't know
The
difference,
the texture of the paper. Hot press. I heard somebody explain it best. Hot press. Think of an iron. The paper was ironed hot, so it's nice and smooth, kind of like getting the wrinkles out. And cold press is textured.
Eve says they really shouldn't have given it a French name.
Not French paper.
We get that a lot in art. There's a lot of French terminology. It's like people associate art with French.
Yeah.
French people. Plein air. It's French for we're going to paint outside.
Yep. Oh, what's the prints called? When the inkjet prints?
Oh.
What's that called?
I
went blank.
I don't remember the name.
But isn't that a French word too?
It's a French word, yeah. It's fancy for laser jet printer.
Let's see here. I'm looking at my photo upright, my reference photo, while I'm burning upside down or sideways. I'm not trying to put every hair in, though I can be tedious and do that. The raccoon, I put a lot of hairs in.
Well, speaking objectively, what you got here as far as like describing the flow and the mass of the hair, it's really good. I mean, you really wouldn't need to, depending on how far you want to take it, you really wouldn't, and especially if you're going to add more media in, I think that you wouldn't need to do too much. I mean, it already is looking like pen and ink, so.
And that's what I'm still trying to figure out. How far do I want to go? I've seen burnings where, they did a wonderful job burning and they cover the whole thing in color, and you lose the fact that it was a burning. And you put all that work into it. Why wouldn't you want to keep?
So Jen K says, hi everyone.
Hey, Jen.
And she says, I didn't know Val did live.
I just started Jen. Yeah. Jen is one of Lindsay's mods. He's over in, not Germany, Belgium. They're stationed there.
Oh, okay.
I just started. This is actually my 4th live.
They're probably stationed and shaped. And
We've talked about them. They were at Fort Huachuca. So
Belgium would be the sweetest assignment.
I don't remember. Jen, do you like being in? It's in Belgium, right? Where you're at?
Yes, she says
All right. So I could, of course, keep burning, but just leave this to denote the dark fur. But I'm not sure, looking at the reference photo, if that's what I want. And therein lies where I'm having the issue.
Well, how's your other media that you're going to add? How's it going to affect your burning? Is it going to darken it up that much more? Or?
I'm going to use watercolor, so it should be completely transparent. And I'm hoping to use it as a way where the burning is darkens that particular watercolor that I'm using. You know what I mean? Almost like it's changing the tone to make it darker.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm under the
says yes, Belgium. She says she hated it at first, but I'm well adjusted and want to stay longer than 3 years.
Oh, good. They just went to Paris Disney. Her and the family. Looked like they had a blast. Let's see here.
I always imagine Paris did Disney like Mickey and Goofy smoking clove cigarettes and wearing berets. It's like Americans, have a good time in a small world, man.
You make it hard to fart sometimes. Oh, I love it. Now, excuse me. Now I feel like I need to burn that. I don't know how Disney would feel about that. I know. Some of that hair is light, so I don't want to put this.
He says, "Oh my God, Amazon.com basically just sent me an empty box." Jen says, "What did you order, Eve?"
Oh no. They tend to send me if I order like a tube of watercolor, they'll send it in a big old box all by itself, and I've actually sent reviews on their packing is bad.
Paul says there's been some great stuff and people come out about them. And then there's Von Down. What went wrong? Eve says I ordered pad pucks.
Oh, those are, he showed me what those were. Oh, I just went blank. Oh, they're little sticky things that go on the bottom of a light pad. Why? Because she's in Canada?
Well, yeah, pad pucks. That's two words that are used in hockey.
Oh, I know. Don't forget, Jess is still big into hockey.
She says the box has not been tampered with, so they shipped it empty.
Is it stuck under a flap? Like at the bottom, like taped in there?
He says they're good to prop surfaces at an angle. Okay.
Let's see that goes. See, with this tip, I can put it more perpendicular to the surface and raise at that angle and curve to get longer, flowier fur. See, I'm gonna have to...
Eve says it's too big to get stuck under the flap.
Time to start calling and sending messages. Where are my pucks? See, this tip, when I was on Sunday, when I was shading in or putting the hair in this area, it damaged the paper in a not good way. But if you notice with this tip, I'm not having it dig into the paper. In fact, I bet you this tip, on Sunday when I went to show a cold tip pushing into the paper and then burning over the top of it, it was supposed to leave a white area where I indented the paper and it didn't work. I think it was the tip being too sharp that I used.
See, one thing is the way the perspective is on the video,
it
just looks like sometimes, unless you're aware of it, like right now you can see it's angled, but a lot of times it just looks like a square tip.
Yeah.
I can see how the angle would assist in it gliding over the surface.
Yeah. You can feel the burning. I can feel each one of the ridges, but it's not cutting into the paper. And of course, the fur is not going to be perfect because there's no way to do a perfect. I don't even think the people who sell machine laser burn pieces could get it perfect.
Well, I think that's the charm in art is that, like, it's the visible strokes, the interaction in between the person and the paper that gives it that kind of really pleasant aesthetic that makes it not look mechanical. And it can look realistic, but I think it's more about, like, a lot of times it's not necessarily what's photorealistic, it's just what feels good to the artist.
Yeah. Now here I laid down the darker area before, and now I'm layering on top with some more fur. But with how I did it, that I can see straight across lines, I can fix that. I don't have to go over each area and it looks more shaded. But I do see the stripes here that I don't want. And that's easily fixed like that.
Oh, I thought you were doing his stripes.
I am, but his stripes aren't. I mean, the stripes right here on the front are perfect, but the ones over by the ear, I don't want them that lined out.
See, that's the difference between you and me. I'd be like, whoa, Eddie, that's the way your stripes are now.
Get used to it. Well, I just wanted to fade into each other better. And then what I had, see here, right here is also dark hair. And it's longer. And I can also go sideways with this tip to make lines wider, and I can do just using the tip of it, which I didn't have to flip it, but I want you to see. I can use just the tip of it to shade in an area smoother.
So this tip here,
It's a good overall tip.
I was going to say, if you had to choose like one tip, you can only have one tip.
This one.
That one.
If I can only have one tip, then yes, it would be this one, because I can make sure it's on. I can work on the eyes with the tip of it. And I can, let's see here, use it on the side to hit raised areas. Like, it's kind of harder to see on this, but I can.
Is this a tip that would come with a burner set?
No, this is the tip that I'm trying to get custom made through Colwood, so that not only do I have a new tip, because Nibsburner does not make these anymore, but I am also hoping to be able to have it available for those who, subscribe and they want to do something similar. Because this is the tip that I was using on Sunday, and let's see how well you can see in the white. There we go. And it just cut into the paper without me even putting a whole lot of pressure down, and that gets frustrating. But this tip, I don't have that issue. I don't have a lot of issues. If I could have 5 total tips, and I couldn't have any more tips. This one, 3 ball tips and a shader and a spoon shader. And I could do any piece of art ever. I mean, some people do it with only 1 tip, and that's great. I choose not to. I could just use 1 tip, and it would be this one.
Paul says, get a hold of the cat when you're finished and dye it to match the burning if it isn't quite right. Paul gets it.
Yeah, Paul gets it.
He says, I don't think it'd appreciate being burned.
Yeah.
And then we're back to Arizona.
Come here, Eddie. Let me burn you. He didn't even like me taking his picture. I wanted him standing up or sitting, but upright. And he would do it, and then I'd put the camera on him, and he'd lay down. So this pose looks like he's up. He's just sitting on his butt, looking at you, but he was laying down. I just kind of altered it a little bit. Let's see here. This is black. How far does that go? That goes down. And I'll fade out. It's not very wide. But I'm going to... See there, I just used the tip to darken that. That's a pretty...
Grace Blosser says, oh no, I'm late. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Grace. This is darker and longer. See, I can get a really good curve with this tip. Hopefully that shows up. If Wednesdays works better for everybody than Sunday evening, I'm looking at changing that. So definitely let me know down in the comments or in chat if this time frame that we're doing right now works better for everybody. I got that darker. Don't want to go too far. Nor do I want it uniform. So this part right here is really dark. It's really dark right here. And this is black coming out from his eyeliner. His Edie's eyeliner. And he has a pretty good mask, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's got some that comes down here. Kind of.
Grace says Wednesday works better for me. I just forgot you were working on it today. Oh.
Well, you're registering for class this week, right?
Yes. Today.
Today? Okay.
Well, I'll see what my schedule will be. Hopefully. So.
Well, as it turns out, next Wednesday, the day after my birthday, is the 1 year anniversary of the channel.
Oh wow.
1 year next Wednesday. So I did want to do a live.
That's cool.
And I also have a giveaway.
I was going to ask if you're going to do a giveaway.
I'm waiting. Oh, I dropped my paper. Oops. It's down there.
Down where?
Down there. I can't reach it. Thank you. Unfortunately, this particular giveaway. Oh, I just need the piece of paper. Thank you. That's my test sheet. I guess I could have used another one. Thank you. Sorry about that. I dropped my test sheet. Unfortunately, this. Well, should I do the big giveaway or the other giveaway? I've got two giveaways, and one of them I have to keep to the U.S. because of the chemicals it's made with. I'm afraid to award it to somebody outside of the U.S. and then I can't get it to you because it can't get through customs.
We've already experienced that coming the other way.
Coming out. I've already had that problem trying to get some stains from the UK, water-based stains at that, and the person can't get them to me because UK customs won't let it, no matter how much paperwork he does, UK customs won't let it out to come to me. And I'm just afraid that I go ahead and award somebody and I can't get the product to you.
Well, in regards to the 1 year anniversary, Grace says, whoa, how exciting. And then Dorothy Smith says, yes, I like this time better.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we are going to switch to, for now, Wednesdays at 10:30 then. Awesome. I think that's what we're going to do. How many people do we have watching? Can you tell?
We had 10, but now we're down to 8.
Oh.
Okay, of course, 2 of those are you and me.
Yeah.
So we have 2 devices that we're using to manage this. So.
I felt like we had more.
Well, you said when you went on and checked the stats after last stream that it was actually much higher than what you were seeing. I don't understand that. But.
I don't either. I don't understand a lot of things for YouTube. All right. So, of course, I got to do this on that side. And one thing to always remember, if you think you messed up on a fur pat, well, if you think you messed up and you can't fix it, just burn it like that in a couple other different places, and then you no longer made a mistake.
Mm. So you're unifying it
Yes.
with repetition.
Yes. Man, there's no way I'm going to get his fur exactly like him, but I can get the essence of Eddie. Huh? Maybe that's why I should call this piece The Essence of Eddie. Actually, that's not a bad name. Kind of sounds like a perfume, but
yes, same. I was thinking that.
but there's flowers, so the essence of Eddie would work, right?
Yeah.
And this line right here, I'm not burning that right now because that's actually his white fur. His color fur stops right here.
No mistakes here, only features.
Yeah. So if I make a mistake, or feel I've made a mistake, I will definitely tell you because then I got to figure out how to fix it. And I do make mistakes. Let's see here.
Everything I do is intentional.
Let's see here.
No mistakes.
Yeah. Then why do you get mad at me when I give you legitimate critique?
Because you see all my mistakes.
I see everybody's mistakes. I'm really bad about that. That's just how my brain sees everything. And I'm trying really hard. I look at my art the same way I look at everybody else's. And I don't, that's not fair to everybody else. And I'm trying to be better. Because my brain, for whatever reason, is very detail oriented.
That's why you're doing this.
Yeah, it works for me.
Suits you.
It does. I started with color pencil, though I didn't even know about odorless mineral spirits because, again, I didn't go on YouTube.
What now?
With
the odorless minerals?
Well, I didn't know how to blend color pencil the way I do now.
That was new for me too. That was a source of frustration for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see here. This is straight. So I am gonna do some more color pencil. Now that thanks to Lisa and Sheldine and all those other wonderful artists.
Well, Paul made a comment about color pencil. Is he a color pencil artist?
He is working with some, and he also pastels. He showed me some of his beautiful pieces yesterday. Let me see here. This is too uniform. Stop it. And see, with this tip, I can just quickly move it back and forth without. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. But I'm not hitting everything. I will say I'm working a little slower because I'm doing this live than I normally would, but I am not much quicker.
How much longer do you want to go? We're at 1 hour right now.
Are we?
Well, 1 minute over.
Let me get to the stopping point for my brain. This does, I got to remember, I am going to add watercolor. So some of this I don't need to go as picky on. I'll bump it up so you can see right there. There we go. I can look at it that way. Which is good because I need to give my hand a break. It's starting to go numb. Oops. All right. So we started putting in the fur. I probably will put a little bit more detail into the eye, but not much more. Because again, this is going to be a lot of watercolor. Go back and erase some of these lines since I already have my base down. Maybe. I'm trying very hard not to outline anything. I don't like doing outlines. I used to, because again, I didn't have YouTube to watch and learn things. And it wasn't until I started doing competitions that the judges pointed out that they look for the outlines. So that is something to keep in mind if you're burning and competing. What else? We will do our next live on Wednesday then. Next Wednesday?
Sure.
Or should we do a Sunday just in case? No, we'll do it on Wednesday. Next Wednesday at 10:30 Arizona time. And if you like what you saw, please remember to hit that like button. And if you have any comments or questions, make sure you leave those down below and share. That helps grow our community. And if you're new here and haven't subscribed, click that subscribe button and the bell so you get notified every time we do a live or upload a new video. And with that, happy burning, guys. Thanks. Bye.